Deputy Speaker, a few weeks ago in this place, I met with a delegation of gig economy workers. Those workers whose livelihoods depend on gig work opened my eyes to the harsh realities lurking behind the convenience and efficiency of our convenience economy. In recent years, the gig economy has permeated every aspect of our day-to-day lives. From ordering food to booking a ride, gig economy platforms have seamlessly integrated themselves into our routines, offering flexibility and convenience at the palm of your hand. However, amidst that convenience lies a hidden truth here in Australia. The workers powering these platforms are often subjected to precarious employment conditions, low pay and limited job security. While we enjoy the convenience, we now know that the workers who support some operators in this business model grapple with the uncertainty of irregular income, the absence of benefits, and the constant pressure to accept unfavourable terms in order to secure their next gig. There aren't many people who live in Australia that believe workers should be paid below the minimum wage, or that they should not be protected by fair and decent working conditions. But that's what's happening today. Deputy Speaker, gig workers need protection, and locals in Bennelong have contacted me to tell me that they want these workers to have better rights and better pay. Locals support better protections for gig workers because of the awful stories of danger and exploitation that we have all seen on the news over the past few years. Recently, I met with Zhu Ying, who used to work for one of these companies. Without notice, her gig economy employer slashed her base delivery rate and imposed unrealistic deadlines, endangering her safety. In her quest for fair pay and fair conditions, Zhou Ying bravely organised worker protests. However, her actions were met with retaliation from the company, leaving her financially vulnerable and unable to meet the basic needs such as rent and food. Similarly, Nabin, a delivery driver here in Canberra, works for multiple gig economy apps. After factoring in expenses, he barely earns $13.60 per hour, sometimes as little as $4 per delivery. At this rate, to pay the bills, Nabin is forced to work gruelling hours, sometimes exceeding 70 or 85 hours per week. He struggles to make ends meet. The constant fear of being deactivated from the app due to perceived inadequacies only adds to his stress and anxiety, forcing him to rush through traffic in a bid to meet unrealistic targets. The lack of transparency and accountability in gig economy platforms exacerbates the exploitation of workers just like Nabin, who are forced to accept unfavourable working conditions to pay the bills. Deputy Speaker, these are just two stories, but they reflect the harsh realities faced by gig economy workers in this country, who often find themselves trapped in a cycle of exploitation and instability. People like Nabin and Zhu Ying are the reason why the government's closing loophole legislation was so important. That legislation represents a crucial step towards ensuring that workers like Nabin and Zhu Ying are afforded the protections and rights that they deserved. It sends a clear message to business that wage theft, unsafe working conditions and exploitation will not be tolerated, and that every worker, regardless of their employment arrangement, deserves to be paid at least the minimum wage, and they deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. The closing loopholes legislation will better protect workers from the exploitation and dangerous working conditions, whilst also ensuring that gig economy workers are afforded the same rights and protections as traditional employees. By setting minimum standards tailored to the gig economy, the government acknowledges the importance of preserving flexibility and autonomy for workers while ensuring that they are not subjected to unfair treatment or exploitation. It ensures that gig workers across the country can continue to embrace the flexibility and autonomy that working for a digital platform provides, trusting that they will receive fair treatment and adequate compensation. This legislation is not just about closing legal gaps, it's about standing up for the dignity and rights for every worker in our nation. It's about ensuring that no worker is left behind in a rapidly evolving landscape of the modern workforce. At the end of the day, Deputy Speaker, this government wants to wants workers to earn more and keep more of what they earn, whereas the Liberals want workers to work longer for less.
Members' time is expired.